The fact is that I have agreed with President Bush far more than I have disagreed. And on the transcendent issues, the most important issues of our day, I have been totally in agreement and support of President Bush.
I'm older than Frankenstein. I got a few scars, and I'm older than dirt, and I've got more scars than Frankenstein.
Is there anybody that's tired of paying $4 a gallon for gasoline?
I will conduct a respectful debate. Now, it'll be dispirited. It'll be spirited. I'm a proud conservative, liberal, conservative Republican.
We should be able to deliver bottled hot water to dehydrated babies.
Tight household budgets are getting tighter.
I will veto every single bill.
A real leader with a real borrower.
We continue to be concerned about Iranian taking Al-Qaeda into Iran, training them and sending them back. Well, it's common knowledge and has been reported in the media that that Al-Qaeda is going back into Iran and receiving training and are coming back into Iraq from Iran. That's well known.
You said that the Iranians were training Al-Qaeda.
I'm sorry.
Training extremists.
I'm sorry. The Iranians are training extremists, not Al-Qaeda. Not Al-Qaeda. I'm sorry.
You might have had kind of a senior moment there.
The first thing I would do is make sure that we have a missile defense system in place in Czechoslovakia.
And President Putin and his government, former President Putin.
The President Putin of Germany gave one of the old Cold War style speeches.
How can we bring pressure to bear on the government of Somalia? How can we, Sudan. I'm sorry, Sudan.
To the Republic of Czechoslovakia.
Particularly given the situation on the Iraq-Pakistan border.
One is reducing the energy supplies to Czechoslovakia.
Barack Obama knows we haven't had a Czechoslovakia for the last 20 years. He knows that Pakistan and Iraq doesn't border each other.
Which came first, the surge or the surge? Apparently, the surge did. In our fifth story on the countdown, Senator McCain, who yesterday wanted you to believe that the surge predated the Sunni awakening in Anbar, now wants you to believe that the surge started before President Bush said it did. If that is not confusing enough, the presumptive Republican nominee would also have you believe that the surge and the Anbar awakening and the counterinsurgency in Iraq are all the very same thing.
He did say that he would negotiate with the leaders, but as you know,
Ayatollah Ahmadinejad was the leader. Maybe I'm mistaken.
Maybe you are, because
I don't think so, though.
The supreme, according to most diplomatic experts, the supreme leader Ali Khamenei is the guy who's in charge of Iranian foreign policy and also in charge of the nuclear program. But you never mention him. Do you? Why do you always keep on talking about Ahmadinejad, since he doesn't have power in that realm?
He said getting the troops home was not that important. The full context of the quote, the full context of the interview proves that's what he said. What does this statement mean for this country and for those troops?
Well, I think it means that Senator John McCain does not have a complete understanding of the nature of the conflict in Iraq. We knew at the start of this that John McCain didn't understand the economy because he himself told us that. But we're learning now increasingly that he really doesn't understand Iraq. He confuses who is being trained by whom. He confuses the history because he says that the Shia and the Sunni don't have a long history of violence against each other, only 1,200 plus years. He confuses the real meaning of Japan and Germany in terms of their numbers of troops, and at one point himself said on television that he didn't believe we could stay there in that way because of the nature of the culture in Iraq.
You have admitted that you're not exactly an expert when it comes to the economy, and many have said that
I have not. I have not.
Senator McCain, you have said repeatedly, quote, I know a lot less about economics than I do about military and foreign policy issues. I still need to be educated. Is it a problem for your campaign that the economy is now the most important issue, one that, by your own acknowledgement, you are not well versed on?
Actually, I don't know where you got that quote from. I'm very well versed in economics.
Well, now I know where you got the quote from. Now I know where you got the quote
I will show you where I got the quote from. I got it from John McCain, and here it is. McCain is refreshingly blunt when he tells me, quote, I'm going to be honest. I know a lot less about economics than I do about military and foreign policy issues. I still need to be educated. Wall Street Journal, November 26, 2005. You repeated it to the Boston Globe in December of 07. You said it.
Veterans and all Americans admire your service in Vietnam. We haven't heard an explanation of why you voted against your colleagues' proposals to increase health care funding in 2004, 5, 6, and 7, when we had troops coming back from 2 wars.
Instead of the answer the questioner is looking for, McCain now takes credit for the GI Bill and takes a political shot at Jim Webb.
On the issue of the GI Bill, I was disappointed that Senator Webb didn't support making it permanent, and Senator Graham and I and other veterans will be looking to try to extend that to all veterans, not just 2001. I hope you'll urge Senator Webb and others to agree with that.
Wait, what about what the guy asked about? Voting record?
You do not have a perfect voting record by the DIV and the VFW. That's where these votes are recorded, and the votes were proposals by your colleagues in the Senate to increase health care funding of the VA in 2003, 4, 5, and 6 for troops returning from Iraq and Afghanistan, and you voted against those proposals. I can give the specific Senate votes, the numbers of those Senate votes, right now.
In contrast, you gave Obama a B+, the disabled American vets, as you said. They say that McCain voted with them just 20% of the time. Obama gets an 80. And the Vietnam Veterans of America, that got McCain down for 9 votes with them, 15 votes against them. Why does he keep claiming that all the veterans groups have given him their highest awards? Why is he kind of able to repeat this claim?
I will conduct a respectful debate.
Nor have I ever proposed a public or secret date for withdrawal. Is simply wrong. And by the way, raising it a few days before the Florida primary, when there was very little time for me to correct the record, when the question I was most frequently asked is, oh, you're for a specific date of withdrawal, sort of falls in the kind of dirty tricks that I think Ronald Reagan would have found to be reprehensible.
Senator McCain, tough words.
Timetables were the buzzword. That was the Iraq study group. That was what the Democrats said we wanted to do. Your answer should have been no.
The word timetable. Pardon me? You shouldn't have used the word timetable.
I didn't use the word timetable.
I think it's a pretty good timetable, as we...
McCain's attack ad claiming that Senator Obama, quote, made time to go to the gym but canceled a visit with wounded troops. The announcer adding that, quote, it seems the Pentagon wouldn't allow him to bring cameras. The implication being that that is why Obama canceled the visit, because the media would not be allowed in the medical center with him. But when Obama visited the wounded troops at Walter Reed in Washington last month, no cameras or reporters were with him then, and that had been exactly the plan this time. No media, just a visit. As for the claim that Obama went to the gym instead, the footage used in the McCain ad is from his time in Kuwait a week ago, playing basketball with the troops.
I would clearly support not extending those tax cuts in order to help address the deficit.
You wouldn't support extending them, but you are now supporting extending them on the radio with this ad.
I'll make the Bush tax cuts permanent.
That's a direct contradiction.
When she questioned whether McCain may have known about some of the questions at that faith forum on Saturday night ahead of time. See, John McCain was supposed to be in a so-called cone of silence during Barack Obama's interview, which happened first, the result of a coin toss. Turns out McCain wasn't even in the building, let alone the cone of silence. He was in the motorcade on his way to the church during Obama's portion of the program. McCain's campaign insists the Arizona senator did not hear the broadcast of the event in the car and didn't hear any of the questions.
Who's known Senator McCain for more than 3 decades, endorsed Mitt Romney. Cochran said his choice was prompted partly by his fear of how McCain might behave in the Oval Office. Quote, the thought of his being president sends a cold chill down my spine, Cochran said about McCain. He's erratic, he's hot-headed, he loses his temper, and he worries me.
We better think about somebody who can stand up with a message and go toe-to-toe with him. And I frankly don't think that Senator McCain, despite his service and his length of experience, that's going to be able to stand up to the message that Barack Obama has brought forward. I think
Barack Obama would be able to do to John McCain exactly what he was able to do to the other senators who were running on the Democratic side.